Imagine this: every strand of DNA in our body is like a scroll, a story waiting to be unraveled. Within it lies the legacy of countless generations, their triumphs, struggles, and migrations. What if these invisible threads could rewrite everything we thought we knew about history? South America, with its breathtaking landscapes and diverse cultures, holds one of the most enigmatic genetic stories on Earth. Yet, for centuries, much of that story remained hidden, locked within the intricate sequences of DNA, waiting for science to catch up. Today, thanks to cutting-edge genetic technologies, we're uncovering a tapestry far more intricate and interconnected than anyone imagined. DNA analysis is revealing a rich mosaic of identities and origins, stretching from the frozen expanses of Siberia to the tropical jungles of the Amazon. But it's not just a tale of migrations and settlements. It's a story of resilience, adaptation, and the remarkable ability of humans to thrive in diverse and often harsh environments. In this exploration, we'll delve deep into how South American DNA has helped rewrite history books, solving age-old mysteries and raising new questions. How did the first humans arrive in South America? And what paths did they take? What do genetic traces of extinct hominins, like Neanderthals and Denisovans, reveal about ancient interactions? And how did the mingling of Native Americans, Europeans, Africans, and even Polynesians shape the continent's genetic identity? This isn't just a journey into the past. It's a revelation of how the stories etched in our DNA connect us all. It's about challenging what we think we know, embracing complexity, and marveling at the interconnectedness of human history. So, let's begin by unlocking the secrets carried within South America's DNA, a hidden story waiting to be told. To uncover the hidden story of South America, we must first go back, way back, to when the first humans set foot on this vast continent. Imagine a world covered in ice, with massive glacier reshaping the land and lowering sea levels. It was during this ice age, roughly 20,000 years ago, that humans crossed the Bering Land Bridge, connecting Siberia to Alaska. From there, they began a journey that would take them thousands of miles southward, into a land of towering mountains, endless rainforests, and windswept plains. But who were these early pioneers? DNA tells us they weren't a single, homogeneous group. Instead, they represented a mix of lineages, carrying genetic signals from ancient Siberians and even groups with ties to East Asia. By analyzing ancient remains, scientists have uncovered two fascinating genetic routes these early settlers likely took. One pathway hugged the Pacific coast, where fertile lands and rich marine life supported human survival. The other ventured inland, crossing the Rocky Mountains and down through the plains of North and Central America. As these groups ventured deeper into South America, they encountered diverse environments that shaped their genetic identity. Archaeological evidence suggests that as early as 14,000 years ago, people were living in places like Montevideo in modern-day Chile. This site, with its remains of wooden tools and hearths, proves that humans reached the southernmost parts of the continent far earlier than once believed. What makes this story even more intriguing are the unexpected genetic markers found in ancient South American remains, traces of Denisovan ancestry. Denisovans, an extinct species of archaic humans, left their genetic imprint on populations in Asia. But how did their lineage make its way into South America? The leading theory suggests that Denisovan genes were introduced long before these populations reached the Americas, in ancient interactions between Siberian humans and Denisovans. These traces now serve as a fascinating link between South America's early inhabitants and their distant cousins across the Pacific. Another surprising twist in the story comes from genetic signals tied to Australasia, regions like Papua New Guinea and Australia. This discovery stunned researchers, as there's no direct migration route connecting Australasia to the Americas. How did this genetic footprint appear? One hypothesis suggests that small seafaring groups may have made their way across the Pacific and mingled with early South American populations. Another theory posits that these genes were carried over thousands of years through intricate migration patterns involving multiple groups across the globe. As science advances, more secrets about South America's first peoples are coming to light. From their ability to adapt to extreme environments, such as the high-altitude Andes, to their ingenious agricultural practices, like cultivating potatoes and maize, these early inhabitants weren't just surviving, they were thriving. Their DNA is a testament to human resilience and creativity, offering us a glimpse into a world long gone but never forgotten. The settlement of South America is not the tale of a single migration, but rather a mosaic of journeys, each leaving its distinct mark on the continent's genetic landscape. Ancient DNA reveals that the story of how people arrived in South America is far more complex than anyone had imagined. For decades, the dominant theory suggested that early humans followed a straightforward path. They crossed the Bering Land Bridge, moved south through an ice-free corridor in North America, and eventually spread across the Americas. While this theory explains much, new genetic evidence tells a more intricate story. First, there's the Pacific coast route. Early humans, likely skilled at navigating coastlines, traveled by sea, hugging the shores of North America and Central America before reaching South America. This pathway, rich in resources like fish and edible plants, would have been a lifeline for small, migrating groups. Genetic markers found in ancient remains from coastal South America align with this theory, showing clear links to populations from Northeast Asia and Siberia. Then there's the Atlantic coast mystery. DNA from ancient human remains in northeast Brazil suggests a surprising migration pattern, one that traces back to Central and South America's Atlantic regions. What's even more astounding is the evidence of a south-to-north migration, where people may have traveled from as far south as modern-day Uruguay up to Panama. This reverses the traditional narrative and highlights how interconnected early human migrations may have been. One of the most fascinating pieces of evidence comes from Australasian DNA found in ancient remains near the Atlantic coast. This genetic signal, linked to regions like Papua New Guinea and Australia, is a puzzle. How could it have made its way to South America? Some researchers believe it was carried by ancient populations moving across Southeast Asia and Siberia before crossing the Bering Land Bridge. Others propose that ancient seafarers may have directly crossed the Pacific Ocean and mingled with early South American populations. Adding another layer of complexity is the timing of these migrations. Genetic analyses suggest that South America was settled in waves, with different groups arriving at different times. The earliest wave brought hunter-gatherers who adapted to the continent's diverse environments, from the Andes Mountains to the Amazon rainforest. Later waves introduced new technologies, such as advanced farming techniques, and new genetic lineages that enriched the region's diversity. But not all migrations were straightforward. Some groups likely traveled long distances before settling, while others moved back and forth across vast regions. For instance, evidence from ancient DNA shows that Neanderthal and Denisovan ancestry made its way to South America, carried by populations that had interacted with these archaic humans tens of thousands of years earlier in Eurasia. And yet, despite the distances and obstacles, these migrations shaped the genetic and cultural foundations of South America. Today, the continent's diverse populations are living testaments to these ancient journeys. The DNA of modern South Americans reflects not just the legacy of indigenous peoples, but also the influences of Europeans, Africans, and other groups who arrived in more recent centuries. The story of how people got to South America is one of perseverance, ingenuity, and the human drive to explore the unknown. It's a story that continues to evolve with every new discovery, as researchers piece together the puzzle of our shared history. The genetic tapestry of South America reveals unexpected threads connecting its people to ancient populations that lived far beyond its shores. Among the most intriguing discoveries in recent years is the presence of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA in South American genomes. These ancient hominins, whose last known habitats were thousands of miles away in Eurasia, left a genetic legacy that continues to echo in the DNA of modern and ancient South Americans alike. But how did these connections form? And what do they mean for our understanding of human history? To understand this, we must go back tens of thousands of years, to a time when modern humans first encountered Neanderthals and Denisovans. Neanderthals roamed the forests and plains of Europe and Western Asia, while Denisovans occupied parts of Central and Eastern Asia. As early Homo sapiens expanded out of Africa, they met and interbred with these archaic humans, exchanging genes that would prove advantageous for survival. Fast forward to the migrations into the Americas. The descendants of those early modern humans carried traces of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA as they journeyed across Asia and eventually into North and South America. This means that every indigenous population in the Americas carries a genetic legacy that predates their ancestors' arrival on the continent. What makes the story of South America unique, however, is the surprising presence of Denisovan DNA. Denisovans were primarily associated with regions near the Altai Mountains in Siberia and the Tibetan Plateau in China. The fact that their genetic signal is detectable in South America, and even more pronounced in some populations than Neanderthal DNA, raises fascinating questions. One explanation is that the Denisovan ancestry found in South America comes from a major interbreeding event that occurred in Asia tens of thousands of years ago. This admixture would have been carried by the ancestors of the first Americans as they made their way across the Bering Land Bridge. The persistence of this genetic signal suggests that it may have offered an evolutionary advantage, possibly in adapting to high-altitude environments or resisting certain diseases. But there's more to this puzzle. Recent analyses of ancient South American genomes have revealed a stronger Denisovan presence in some regions than others. For instance, ancient remains from Uruguay and Panama show higher Denisovan ancestry than those from Brazil. This could indicate multiple migration waves, each with distinct genetic makeups, or varying levels of interbreeding with Denisovan admixed populations before arriving in South America. Another mystery lies in the interaction between Denisovan and Australasian ancestry. Some ancient South American individuals exhibit genetic signals from both groups, hinting at complex migration patterns that may have included long-distance seafaring or previously unknown land routes. These discoveries challenge conventional theories about how the Americas were settled and highlight the diverse paths taken by early humans. Neanderthal DNA, while less emphasized in South America compared to Denisovan DNA, also played a role in shaping the genetic makeup of the continent's ancient inhabitants. Genes inherited from Neanderthals have been linked to immune system functions, skin pigmentation, and even altitude adaptation, all of which could have influenced how early South Americans adapted to their environments. What does this mean for modern populations? While the genetic contributions of Neanderthals and Denisovans are small, typically less than 5%, their impact is profound. They serve as reminders of a time when humans were not alone, when multiple human-like species coexisted and interacted. These ancient connections bind us not only to our ancestors but also to other branches of the human family tree. The presence of Neanderthal and Denisovan DNA in South America isn't just a fascinating footnote in history. It's a key piece of the puzzle. It helps scientists trace the intricate web of human migrations and understand how ancient interactions shaped the world we live in today. As research continues, these genetic clues may unveil even more about the lives of our ancestors and the remarkable journeys that brought humanity to every corner of the globe. The story of South America's genetic heritage is far from complete, but with every discovery, we take another step closer to understanding the hidden connections that unite us all. One of the most perplexing discoveries in South American DNA studies is the presence of Australasian ancestry. This connection, spanning continents and vast oceans, challenges our understanding of early human migration and raises profound questions about how the Americas were settled. Australasian ancestry refers to genetic signals found in populations of Australia, Papua New Guinea, and nearby islands. Its appearance in the genomes of ancient South Americans is both surprising and mysterious, as these regions are separated by thousands of miles and the expanse of the Pacific Ocean. How could two populations, seemingly worlds apart, share such a significant genetic link? The story begins over 50,000 years ago, when the ancestors of modern Australasians ventured out of Africa. They migrated through South Asia, eventually reaching the islands of Southeast Asia, Australia, and the Pacific. These early seafarers were among the first humans to cross open oceans, paving the way for future exploration and settlement. Meanwhile, a separate group of early humans, bearing their own genetic signatures, migrated into the Americas. These groups were long thought to have traveled exclusively through the Bering Land Bridge, a frozen corridor connecting Asia to Alaska during the Ice Age. But the presence of Australasian DNA in South America suggests something much more complex. Recent studies, including groundbreaking genomic analyses, have detected traces of this ancestry in ancient remains from Brazil and Panama. One of the most significant findings comes from the Lagoa Santa region of Brazil, where ancient individuals exhibit genetic signals shared with Australasians. There are several theories about how this connection might have occurred. The most conventional explanation is that Australasian ancestry entered the Americas through Asia. This would mean that the genetic signal originated in populations migrating across the Bering Land Bridge and was passed down to their descendants as they moved southward into the Americas. However, the timing and geographic spread of Australasian DNA in South America suggests something more unusual. Some researchers propose that early Australasian populations may have reached the Americas directly, possibly by navigating the Pacific Ocean. This idea is supported by evidence of early seafaring capabilities in Australasia and the Polynesian islands. If true, it would mean that ancient mariners crossed one of the largest and most challenging stretches of water on Earth, arriving in the Americas long before Europeans or even Polynesians. Another possibility is that Australasian DNA arrived in South America through a series of indirect migrations. For example, ancient populations in Southeast Asia or the Pacific could have intermingled with groups that later migrated to the Americas. This scenario would explain how the Australasian genetic signal became embedded in the genomes of early South Americans without requiring a direct transoceanic voyage. But the mystery doesn't end there. The timing of this genetic connection adds another layer of intrigue. Genetic studies have found that the Australasian signal in South America predates the arrival of Polynesians in the Pacific. This means that if a direct connection existed, it would have occurred thousands of years earlier than previously thought, possibly 10,000 to 20,000 years ago. The implications of this discovery are profound. If Australasian populations did reach the Americas, it would upend traditional models of migration and settlement. It would also highlight the incredible ingenuity and adaptability of early humans, who navigated vast and treacherous waters using little more than rudimentary boats and their understanding of the stars and currents. Despite these tantalizing possibilities, the Australasian connection remains shrouded in uncertainty. The genetic signal is faint, suggesting that the interaction between Australasian and early South American populations was limited or occurred long ago. Additionally, no archaeological evidence, such as tools, pottery, or other cultural artifacts, has been found to support direct contact between Australasians and early South Americans. Still, the presence of Australasian DNA in South America is a testament to the complexity of human migration. It reminds us that the story of our ancestors is far from straightforward and that each new discovery adds depth to our understanding of the past. As scientists continue to study ancient genomes and uncover new evidence, the Australasian connection may one day be fully understood. Until then, it serves as a fascinating puzzle, a reminder that human history is as vast and interconnected as the oceans that early explorers dared to cross. For centuries, tales of ancient voyagers navigating the vast Pacific Ocean have captivated the imagination. Among these stories is the intriguing possibility of contact between Polynesians and South Americans, a theory that straddles the line between myth and scientific evidence. Recent genetic studies have added weight to these theories, revealing that the connection may be more than mere speculation. It could be a historical reality. Polynesians, known for their extraordinary seafaring skills, settled some of the most remote islands on Earth. From their ancestral homeland in Southeast Asia, they ventured eastward across the Pacific, colonizing islands as far-flung as Hawaii, New Zealand, and Easter Island, Rapa Nui. This incredible feat required not only advanced navigational techniques but also a deep understanding of ocean currents, wind patterns, and the stars. Meanwhile, South America was home to a rich tapestry of civilizations, from the Nazca and Moche to the mighty Inca Empire. These societies developed advanced agricultural techniques, monumental architecture, and extensive trade networks. But could these two distant worlds have crossed paths? The first hint of a connection lies in a humble crop, the sweet potato. Indigenous to South America, the sweet potato has long been cultivated across the Pacific Islands. Archaeological evidence shows that it reached Polynesia by at least 1200 AD, long before European explorers ventured into the Pacific. This suggests that Polynesians or South Americans carried the crop across the ocean, though the direction of travel remains a subject of debate. Further evidence of contact comes from linguistic similarities. The word for sweet potato in several Polynesian languages, such as Kumarab in Maori, bears a striking resemblance to the Quechua word kumar, used in parts of the Andes. This linguistic overlap, combined with the crop's presence in both regions, strongly implies some form of interaction. But how did this exchange occur? Recent genetic studies have provided some answers. Research published in Nature revealed traces of South American DNA in ancient Polynesian genomes, particularly among individuals from Rapa Nui and other islands in the eastern Pacific. This admixture suggests that Polynesians and South Americans came into direct contact around 1200 AD. One possibility is that Polynesians, renowned for their long-distance voyaging, sailed to South America. They could have brought back sweet potatoes, chickens, and even people, incorporating these into their cultures as they continued to explore the Pacific. Alternatively, South Americans may have ventured westward, reaching the Polynesian islands and leaving their genetic mark. The legendary Kon-Tiki expedition, led by Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl in 1947, demonstrated that such a journey was feasible. Using a traditional balsa wood raft, Heyerdahl and his crew sailed from Peru to the Tuamotu Islands in French Polynesia, proving that early South Americans could have reached the Pacific Islands with the resources and technology available to them. However, most scientists argue that the balance of evidence favors Polynesians as the primary voyagers. Their sophisticated double-hulled canoes, unmatched navigation skills, and historical record of reaching distant islands support the idea that they were more likely to have initiated contact with South America. Interestingly, genetic analyses show that the earliest traces of South American DNA in Polynesia are not from Rapa Nui, the closest Polynesian island to South America, but from Fetu Hiva in the Marquesas Islands. This raises questions about the roots and timing of these interactions. It suggests that initial contact may have occurred farther west, with the exchange of goods, people, and ideas spreading across the Polynesian network over time. Despite these findings, some mysteries remain. For instance, while South American DNA is found in Polynesia, no Polynesian DNA has been detected in ancient South American genomes. This asymmetry could indicate that interactions were limited in scope or that Polynesians who ventured to South America did not establish lasting settlements. Cultural similarities also provide tantalizing clues. The stonework on Easter Island bears a resemblance to that of pre-Columbian South American civilizations, particularly in its precision and scale. Additionally, Rapa Nui's Birdman cult, centered on competition and religious rituals, shares elements with traditions found in South America. While the genetic and archaeological evidence supports the theory of contact, skeptics point to the lack of direct artifacts linking the two regions. No Polynesian tools or pottery have been found in South America, and no South American artifacts have been conclusively identified in Polynesia. Nevertheless, the growing body of genetic evidence paints a compelling picture of ancient human interaction. It highlights the audacity and ingenuity of early Polynesian voyagers, who pushed the boundaries of exploration and connected distant worlds. The story of Polynesian and South American contact is a testament to humanity's enduring curiosity and capacity for innovation. It challenges us to rethink the limits of ancient civilizations and to recognize the interconnectedness of our shared history. As scientists continue to uncover new evidence, this chapter of human migration promises to remain as dynamic and fascinating as the oceans that early explorers dared to cross. The discovery of Australasian ancestry in ancient South American genomes has opened an entirely new chapter in the study of human migration. For centuries, the idea that populations from places like Australia, Papua New Guinea, or the surrounding regions might have reached South America seemed implausible. Yet, groundbreaking genetic evidence now suggests a connection that defies conventional theories. For centuries, tales of ancient voyages navigating the vast Pacific Ocean have captivated the imagination. Among these stories is the intriguing possibility of contact between Polynesians and South Americans, a theory that straddles the line between myth and scientific evidence. Recent genetic studies have added weight to these theories, revealing that the connection may be more than mere speculation. It could be a historical reality. Polynesians, known for their extraordinary seafaring skills, settled some of the most remote islands on Earth. From their ancestral homeland in Southeast Asia, they ventured eastward across the Pacific, colonizing islands as far-flung as Hawaii, New Zealand, and Easter Island, Rapa Nui. This incredible feat required not only advanced navigational techniques but also a deep understanding of ocean currents, wind patterns, and the stars. Meanwhile, South America was home to a rich tapestry of civilizations, from the Nazca and Moche to the mighty Inca Empire. These societies developed advanced agricultural techniques, monumental architecture, and extensive trade networks. But could these two distant worlds have crossed paths? The first hint of a connection lies in a humble crop, the sweet potato. Indigenous to South America, the sweet potato has long been cultivated across the Pacific Islands. Archaeological evidence shows that it reached Polynesia by at least 1200 AD. Long before European explorers ventured into the Pacific. This suggests that Polynesians or South Americans carried the crop across the ocean, though the direction of travel remains a subject of debate. Further evidence of contact comes from linguistic similarities. The word for sweet potato in several Polynesian languages, such as kumarab in Maori, bears a striking resemblance to the Quechua word kumar, used in parts of the Andes. This linguistic overlap, combined with the crop's presence in both regions, strongly implies some form of interaction. But how did this exchange occur? Recent genetic studies have provided some answers. Research published in Nature revealed traces of South American DNA in ancient Polynesian genomes, particularly among individuals from Rapa Nui and other islands in the eastern Pacific. This admixture suggests that Polynesians and South Americans came into direct contact around 1200 AD. One possibility is that Polynesians, renowned for their long-distance voyaging, sailed to South America. They could have brought back sweet potatoes, chickens, and even people, incorporating these into their cultures as they continued to explore the Pacific. Alternatively, South Americans may have ventured westward, reaching the Polynesian islands and leaving their genetic mark. The legendary Kon-Tiki expedition, led by Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl in 1947, demonstrated that such a journey was feasible. Using a traditional balsa wood raft, Heyerdahl and his crew sailed from Peru to the Tuamotu Islands in French Polynesia, proving that early South Americans could have reached the Pacific Islands with the resources and technology available to them. However, most scientists argue that the balance of evidence favors Polynesians as the primary voyagers. Their sophisticated double-hulled canoes, unmatched navigation skills, and historical record of reaching distant islands support the idea that they were more likely to have initiated contact with South America. Interestingly, genetic analyses show that the earliest traces of South American DNA in Polynesia are not from Rapa Nui, the closest Polynesian island to South America, but from Fetu Hiva in the Marquesas Islands. This raises questions about the roots and timing of these interactions. It suggests that initial contact may have occurred farther west, with the exchange of goods, people, and ideas spreading across the Polynesian network over time. Despite these findings, some mysteries remain. For instance, while South American DNA is found in Polynesia, no Polynesian DNA has been detected in ancient South American genomes. This asymmetry could indicate that interactions were limited in scope or that Polynesians who ventured to South America did not establish lasting settlements. Cultural similarities also provide tantalizing clues. The stonework on Easter Island bears a resemblance to that of pre-Columbian South American civilizations, particularly in its precision and scale. Additionally, Rapa Nui's Birdman cult, centered on competition and religious rituals, shares elements with traditions found in South America. While the genetic and archaeological evidence supports the theory of contact, skeptics point to the lack of direct artifacts linking the two regions. No Polynesian tools or pottery have been found in South America, and no South American artifacts have been conclusively identified in Polynesia. Nevertheless, the growing body of genetic evidence paints a compelling picture of ancient human interaction. It highlights the audacity and ingenuity of early Polynesian voyagers, who pushed the boundaries of exploration and connected distant worlds. The story of Polynesian and South American contact is a testament to humanity's enduring curiosity and capacity for innovation. It challenges us to rethink the limits of ancient civilizations and to recognize the interconnectedness of our shared history. As scientists continue to uncover new evidence, this chapter of human migration promises to remain as dynamic and fascinating as the oceans that early explorers dared to cross. The discovery of Australasian ancestry in ancient South American genomes has opened an entirely new chapter in the study of human migration. For centuries, the idea that populations from places like Australia, Papua New Guinea, or the surrounding regions might have reached South America seemed implausible. Yet, groundbreaking genetic evidence now suggests a connection that defies conventional theories. Australasian genetic signals were first detected in ancient remains from Panama and Brazil, sparking debates about their origins. How did people separated by an entire Pacific Ocean come to share genetic markers? What does this say about the complexity of human migration? The answers are as fascinating as they are mysterious. One possibility is that these genetic traces represent an ancient migration route that predates the well-established land bridge crossing from Siberia to Alaska. Known as the Bering migration, this pathway has long been accepted as the primary route through which the Americas were initially populated. But the Australasian signal complicates this narrative. The genetic markers detected in ancient South Americans appear to stem from populations more closely related to indigenous Australians and Melanesians than to East Asians or Siberians, the groups typically associated with the first wave of migration into the Americas. This suggests that an earlier, perhaps entirely separate migration event may have brought people with Australasian ancestry to the Americas before the Siberian migration. How could such a migration have occurred? One hypothesis posits that early humans used coastal routes, traveling along the Pacific Rim. Known as the Kelp Highway hypothesis, this theory suggests that ancient seafarers followed a rich coastal ecosystem, using kelp forests as a source of food and other resources. This would have allowed them to traverse vast distances without venturing far from land, eventually reaching the Americas. Another theory is that the Australasian signal reflects an even older migration that occurred tens of thousands of years ago, long before the last ice age. This would place these travelers among the first modern humans to leave Africa and spread across the globe. Their descendants may have reached the Americas via island hopping across the Pacific or by hugging the coasts of Asia and Beringia. Yet another possibility is that the Australasian signal represents a genetic echo of Denisovan ancestry. Denisovans, an archaic human species closely related to Neanderthals, are known to have interbred with the ancestors of Australasian populations. If ancient South Americans carried Denisovan genes through a shared lineage with Australasians, it might explain the genetic connection without requiring direct migration. The findings are further complicated by the fact that these Australasian genetic markers appear strongest in regions like Brazil and Panama, far from the Pacific coast. This suggests that the individuals carrying these markers either migrated deep into South America or that subsequent waves of migration diluted their presence in other parts of the continent. What's even more intriguing is the absence of Australasian genetic markers in ancient North American genomes. This suggests that the migration route bypassed or avoided North America altogether, perhaps due to environmental barriers or differing settlement patterns. Archaeological evidence has yet to catch up with these genetic findings. No artifacts definitively linked to Australasian cultures have been found in South America, leaving a significant gap in the story. However, some researchers believe that future discoveries in underexplored regions, such as the Amazon basin or remote coastal areas, could provide the missing pieces. Critics of the Australasian migration hypothesis argue that the genetic markers might have been inherited from a common ancestor shared by both populations rather than indicating direct contact or migration. Others point out that ancient DNA studies are still in their infancy, especially in South America, where warm and humid climates make the preservation of genetic material challenging. Despite these challenges, the presence of Australasian ancestry in South America challenges us to rethink the story of human migration. It suggests that ancient populations were far more mobile and interconnected than previously believed, capable of extraordinary journeys across oceans and continents. This discovery also highlights the importance of interdisciplinary research. Genetics, archaeology, anthropology, and climate science must work together to unravel the mysteries of early human history. Advances in DNA sequencing technology, combined with archaeological exploration in regions like the Amazon, could provide the answers to questions that have eluded us for decades. The Australasian signal in South American DNA is more than just a genetic curiosity. It's a reminder of the complexity and resilience of the human spirit. It tells a story of exploration, adaptation, and survival, revealing a deep connection between peoples separated by vast distances and thousands of years. As scientists continue to uncover new evidence, the hidden history of Australasian ancestry in South America promises to reshape our understanding of humanity's journey across the globe. This is not just a story of migration, it's a story of discovery, innovation, and the enduring quest to understand where we come from. The discovery of Denisovan ancestry in ancient South American genomes has introduced a fascinating and unexpected layer to the story of human evolution and migration. Denisovans, an enigmatic species of archaic humans closely related to Neanderthals, were once thought to have been confined to parts of Asia, with no clear link to the Americas. However, genetic evidence tells a different story, one that challenges the conventional understanding of how ancient humans spread across the globe. Denisovans were first identified in 2010 through DNA extracted from a finger bone found in Siberia's Denisova cave. This tiny fragment unlocked a wealth of information, revealing a species that interbred with early modern humans and contributed genetic material to populations across Asia and Oceania. But how did this Denisovan legacy find its way to South America? The presence of Denisovan DNA in ancient South American individuals, particularly those from Uruguay and Panama, suggests a complex web of ancient human interactions. Researchers estimate that Denisovan admixture occurred around 40,000 years ago, long before humans began migrating into the Americas. This timeline raises intriguing questions about the pathways through which Denisovan ancestry reached South America. One explanation lies in the shared ancestry of ancient populations. Denisovan DNA may have entered the genetic pool of humans in Asia before they migrated to the Americas. Over millennia, this genetic signature could have been passed down through generations, surviving in small amounts as humans spread across continents. By the time these populations reached South America, the Denisovan markers remained as a faint yet detectable trace of this ancient interbreeding. What makes this discovery even more remarkable is the strength of the Denisovan signal in South American genomes compared to those of North America. This suggests that the populations carrying Denisovan DNA may have taken a unique migration route, bypassing North America or intermingling differently along the way. The Atlantic coast route, as highlighted in recent studies, offers a potential explanation. This route involved southward migration along the Pacific coast, followed by a surprising northward movement along the Atlantic coast, linking regions like Panama, northeast Brazil, and Uruguay. The Denisovan genetic signal in South America also sheds light on the remarkable diversity of early human populations. It suggests that ancient humans were far from a homogeneous group. Instead, they were a mosaic of lineages shaped by thousands of years of migration, interbreeding, and adaptation. Denisovans were part of this intricate tapestry, contributing not just genetic material but also the traits that helped early humans thrive in new environments. These traits might include adaptations to high altitudes, which are evident in modern Tibetan populations and trace back to Denisovan ancestry. While no direct evidence links Denisovan traits to South America's ancient inhabitants, it raises intriguing possibilities about how this genetic legacy might have influenced the survival and success of early populations in diverse environments, from the Andean highlands to the dense Amazon rainforest. Despite these advances, the story of Denisovan ancestry in South America is far from complete. Unlike Neanderthals, whose physical remains are relatively abundant, Denisovan fossils are exceedingly rare. The lack of archaeological evidence makes it difficult to trace their exact movements or understand the full extent of their interactions with early humans. Furthermore, the warm and humid climates of much of South America present significant challenges for ancient DNA preservation. Even with modern sequencing technologies, obtaining high-quality genetic material from ancient remains is no small feat. This limitation underscores the need for continued exploration and innovation in the study of ancient DNA. The implications of Denisovan ancestry in South America extend beyond the scientific community. They challenge us to reconsider the narrative of human evolution and migration, moving away from simplistic, linear models to embrace a more dynamic and interconnected view of the past. They remind us that the story of humanity is not just one of survival and adaptation but also one of shared heritage, a testament to the deep and complex relationships that bind us to our ancient ancestors. As researchers continue to uncover new evidence, the Denisovan legacy in South America serves as a powerful reminder of the mysteries still waiting to be unraveled. Each new discovery adds a piece to the puzzle, bringing us closer to understanding the incredible journey that shaped the genetic landscape of the Americas. It is a journey marked by resilience, innovation, and the enduring impact of an ancient lineage that continues to resonate through time. One of the most perplexing findings in the study of ancient South American DNA is the discovery of genetic signals linked to Australasia, regions like Papua New Guinea and Australia. This connection spans not just thousands of miles of ocean but also thousands of years of human history. How did this remarkable genetic link come to exist, and what does it reveal about the movements and interactions of ancient peoples? Australasian ancestry in South American genomes is like a fingerprint left behind by a journey shrouded in mystery. The genetic markers, detected in ancient remains from Brazil and Panama, suggest an ancestral connection that defies easy explanation. These markers are present in low frequencies, but their existence points to a migration event that likely occurred tens of thousands of years ago, during the early dispersals of modern humans. One of the leading theories is that the ancestors of Australasian populations interacted with early humans in Southeast Asia before the latter began their migrations into the Americas. This theory aligns with the idea of a shared migration route through Asia, where interactions between diverse groups introduced these genetic signals into the gene pool. Over time, as populations moved across the Bering Land Bridge into the Americas, they carried these genetic markers with them, eventually spreading them to South America. But why does Australasian ancestry appear stronger in South America than in North America? The answer may lie in the complex migration patterns of ancient peoples. Recent studies suggest that the populations carrying Australasian ancestry may have taken a less direct route into the Americas, bypassing parts of North America and arriving in South America via a combination of coastal and inland pathways. Alternatively, multiple waves of migration could have brought different groups with varying genetic compositions to the continent, leading to the uneven distribution of Australasian markers. Another intriguing aspect of this connection is the lack of corresponding archaeological evidence. No tools, pottery, or other artifacts associated with Australasian cultures have been found in South America. This absence raises questions about the nature of the interaction that introduced these genetic signals. Were they the result of direct migration, or did they emerge from a series of complex population interactions along migration routes? Some researchers propose that these markers might have arrived through an indirect pathway, such as through ancient populations in the Pacific who carried Australasian ancestry and later contributed to the genetic makeup of South Americans. This hypothesis ties into broader discussions about transoceanic connections and the role of the Pacific as a corridor for human movement and exchange. Adding to the mystery is the context of Australasian ancestry within the Americas. In addition to South America, these genetic signals have also been detected in ancient remains from the Pacific coast and even in populations as far north as Alaska. This distribution hints at the possibility of ancient networks of trade, communication, or migration that spanned vast distances and connected disparate regions. The Australasian connection also challenges long-standing assumptions about the early peopling of the Americas. Traditional models often depict a straightforward migration route from Asia to the Americas via the Bering Land Bridge. However, the presence of Australasian ancestry suggests a more intricate narrative, one that involves multiple migration waves, complex interactions, and perhaps even unexpected maritime ventures. Maritime exploration, while speculative, cannot be entirely ruled out. The ancestors of Australasian populations were skilled navigators, capable of crossing vast stretches of ocean to reach islands scattered across the Pacific. Could a similar seafaring culture have made its way to the Americas, carrying with it genetic markers that would later become part of South America's heritage? Ultimately, the Australasian connection underscores the remarkable diversity and adaptability of ancient humans. It reminds us that the story of human migration is not a linear path but a web of interconnected journeys, shaped by environmental challenges, cultural innovations, and the inherent drive to explore and expand. Despite the unanswered questions, one thing is certain. The presence of Australasian ancestry in South America is a testament to the complexity of human history. It serves as a powerful reminder that our understanding of the past is constantly evolving, shaped by new discoveries and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. As researchers continue to analyze ancient DNA and uncover new evidence, the Australasian connection stands as a symbol of the mysteries that remain hidden within our genetic code, mysteries that link continents, cultures, and people in ways we are only beginning to understand. One of the most intriguing symbols of ancient human connections between South America and the Pacific Islands is the humble sweet potato. This seemingly ordinary crop holds an extraordinary clue to the movements, exchanges, and relationships of ancient peoples who crossed vast oceans and continents. But how did the sweet potato, a plant native to South America, end up thousands of miles away in Polynesia? And what does its journey reveal about the interconnectedness of ancient civilizations? The sweet potato's story begins in the Andean highlands of South America, where it was first domesticated more than 8,000 years ago. Known as Ipomoa batatas, the plant thrived in the region's diverse climates and became a staple food for many pre-Columbian cultures. By the time the Inca Empire rose to prominence, the sweet potato was already an integral part of their diet, valued for its nutritional richness and versatility. Fast forward to the other side of the Pacific, where the sweet potato emerges as a vital crop in Polynesia. Historical and botanical records show that the plant was widely cultivated across the islands by the 13th century. This timeline aligns with the peak of Polynesian exploration, when skilled navigators ventured thousands of miles across the open ocean, guided only by the stars, ocean currents, and their deep knowledge of the natural world. But the presence of the sweet potato in Polynesia raises a tantalizing question. How did it get there? The plant's seeds cannot survive long-distance ocean travel, ruling out natural dispersal. This leaves only one plausible explanation: human intervention. Either Polynesians voyaged to South America, where they acquired the plant and brought it back, or South Americans reached the islands, sharing their agricultural knowledge and crops. The sweet potato mystery is further deepened by linguistic evidence. In Polynesia, the crop is known as kumara or similar variations, a term remarkably close to the Quechuan word kuma, used by Andean peoples to describe the same plant. This linguistic parallel suggests a direct cultural exchange, supporting the theory of ancient contact between these distant regions. Genetic studies of sweet potato strains offer additional insight. Modern analyses reveal that Polynesian sweet potatoes share a genetic lineage with those native to South America, specifically from regions along the Pacific coast. This finding corroborates the idea of intentional transfer and cultivation by human hands. However, the exact details of this exchange, when, where, and how, remain elusive. Some researchers propose that Polynesians were the first to initiate contact. As expert seafarers, they could have reached the South American coast during their eastward migrations. The Kon-Tiki expedition, led by Norwegian explorer Thor Heyerdahl in 1947, demonstrated the feasibility of such a voyage. Using a traditional balsa wood raft, Heyerdahl successfully sailed from Peru to Polynesia, proving that ancient maritime travel between the two regions was possible. On the other hand, some argue that South Americans may have been the ones to set sail, reaching Polynesia with their crops and knowledge. This theory aligns with recent genetic evidence showing Native American ancestry in Polynesian populations dating back to around 1200 AD. The admixture suggests a period of interaction that could have included the exchange of agricultural products like the sweet potato. Yet, the absence of definitive archaeological evidence, such as South American artifacts in Polynesia or Polynesian tools in South America, complicates the narrative. This lack of material evidence has led some to question whether the connection was indirect, facilitated by intermediary populations or through a series of smaller, incremental exchanges. Another dimension to the mystery is the role of sweet potatoes in Polynesian culture. In addition to being a staple food, the plant held symbolic and ritual significance, often associated with fertility and abundance. Its integration into Polynesian agriculture and society underscores the profound impact of cultural exchanges, even when they occur across vast distances. The sweet potato's journey also challenges conventional views of human migration. Traditional theories often depict migration as a unidirectional flow of people and goods. However, the sweet potato suggests a more dynamic process, one of mutual interaction, where knowledge, crops, and genes flowed back and forth between regions, shaping the course of human history. Despite the unanswered questions, the sweet potato stands as a testament to human ingenuity and connectivity. It bridges two seemingly distant worlds, reminding us that ancient civilizations were far more interconnected than we once believed. The plant's presence in Polynesia is not just a botanical curiosity. It is a symbol of exploration, collaboration, and the enduring human spirit to traverse the unknown. As scientists continue to study ancient DNA, linguistic patterns, and historical records, the sweet potato mystery remains a fascinating puzzle, one that offers a window into the complexity of our shared past. Whether it was Polynesians navigating the South American coast or Andean peoples venturing into the Pacific, the story of the sweet potato underscores the timeless human drive to explore, adapt, and connect. The story of South American DNA is not confined to the distant past. Its revelations have significant implications for the modern world, shaping how we understand ourselves, our communities, and even the science of ancestry. As cutting-edge genomic studies continue to decode the secrets hidden in ancient remains, they also offer insights that ripple through contemporary society, influencing identity, medicine, and cultural heritage. One of the most profound implications of these discoveries lies in the concept of identity. In South America, where ethnic and cultural diversity is vast, genetic research has begun to reshape how people perceive their origins. The populations of South America are a mosaic, a blend of Native American, European, African, and even Asian ancestries. But DNA studies are revealing just how intricate that blend truly is. For many, These findings offer a sense of connection to ancestors whose histories have long been overlooked or erased. By identifying specific genetic markers, researchers can trace family lineages back thousands of years, uncovering ties to ancient civilizations like the Inca or the North Chico. This is particularly significant for indigenous communities, many of whom have struggled to preserve their heritage in the face of colonization and modernization. DNA evidence serves as a powerful affirmation of their deep, enduring connection to the land and its history. These genetic insights also carry important messages for broader social dynamics. In regions like Brazil, Colombia, and Peru, where identity politics often hinge on race and ethnicity, DNA studies challenge simplistic categorizations. They reveal the profound intermingling of ancestries and encourage a more inclusive understanding of what it means to be South American. This shift can foster greater social cohesion, celebrating diversity as a defining strength rather than a source of division. But the implications of South American DNA research go beyond cultural identity. They also extend to the realm of medicine. Genetic studies have uncovered unique markers in South American populations that have significant implications for healthcare. For example, certain genetic traits linked to indigenous ancestry can influence susceptibility to diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular conditions, and even certain cancers. By understanding these genetic predispositions, medical researchers can develop targeted treatments and prevention strategies, ultimately improving health outcomes for millions. The discovery of Denisovan and Australasian genetic signals in South America also raises intriguing medical possibilities. These ancient genetic contributions may carry clues about immunity, adaptation, and resilience to environmental challenges. Investigating these traits could unlock new pathways for treating diseases or enhancing human health in the face of modern challenges like climate change and pandemics. Beyond medicine, these genetic revelations are influencing the burgeoning field of consumer ancestry testing. Companies like 23andMe and Ancestry DNA have seen a surge in interest from South Americans eager to explore their roots. For many, these tests offer a personal connection to history, revealing ancestral links to places and cultures they may have never known. However, this trend also raises ethical questions. How should this genetic information be used? Who owns the data? And how can we ensure that these technologies empower people without exploiting their histories? In addition to reshaping personal identities, DNA discoveries have profound implications for cultural heritage and preservation. By analyzing ancient remains, scientists can reconstruct the migration patterns, diets, and lifestyles of South America's earliest inhabitants. This knowledge not only enriches our understanding of history, but also helps modern societies reconnect with ancestral traditions. For indigenous communities, these discoveries can be a source of pride and a tool for cultural revival, providing evidence that validates oral histories and traditional knowledge. Yet, these advancements also come with challenges. The extraction and analysis of ancient DNA require delicate ethical considerations, especially when dealing with human remains. Indigenous groups have rightly raised concerns about the handling of their ancestors' bones and the potential misuse of genetic data. Collaborative approaches, where scientists work closely with local communities, are crucial for ensuring that research is conducted with respect and transparency. The story of South American DNA also intersects with global conversations about migration and interconnectedness. The revelation of genetic links between South Americans, Polynesians, and other distant populations underscores the idea that human history is one of constant movement and exchange. This perspective challenges nationalist narratives that emphasize isolation and purity, reminding us that humanity's greatest achievements have often come from collaboration across cultures. As we continue to unravel the genetic tapestry of South America, we are reminded of the power of science to bridge the past and the present. These discoveries highlight the resilience and ingenuity of ancient peoples, whose journeys and adaptations laid the groundwork for modern civilizations. They also call on us to reflect on our shared humanity, recognizing that the threads that connect us run deeper than we may have imagined. In the end, the modern implications of South American DNA discoveries go far beyond academic curiosity. They touch on questions of identity, justice, health, and unity. They challenge us to rethink our place in history and our responsibilities to one another. And they remind us that in the intricate dance of genes and culture, we are all part of a story that began long before us and will continue long after.